Good morning, so I'm Sophie Nitten, working as Global Science Lead Allergy at Nestlé. And I will present you today data supporting the immunological and microbial effect of HMOs in experimental models of food allergy. So breastfeeding is currently recommended to prevent the development of allergic disease in high-risk infants. However, the underlying mechanisms of prevention are not clear. Breast milk do not consist only of essential nutrients for infants, including fat, carbohydrates, or proteins, but also contains a lot of different bioactive molecules, including IgA, cytokines, or oligosaccharides, and even microbiome. And all these compounds could theoretically impact the development of food allergy. Yet, breastfeeding has been inconsistently associated with allergic condition, and there is low-grade quality evidence that longer duration of breastfeeding is associated with a reduced risk of asthma in children. There is very low-grade quality evidence that breastfeeding is associated with a reduced risk of allergic rhinitis and eczema in children, and there is no clear association between breastfeeding and food allergy. And this actually could reflect the differences in human milk composition, which varies across different settings and populations. Among all these various components of breast milk, human milk oligosaccharides have been heavily studied during the last decade and are now recognized as a major bioactive component of the breast milk. As described previously, human milk oligosaccharides are the third largest component of breast milk after lipids and lactose. Their composition is described here with this blueprint showing that sialylated or fucosylated entities could be added to a lactose backbone, and this leads to the production of non-fucosylated, sialylated, or fucosylated HMOs. Today, up to 200 different types of HMOs have been identified in breast milk. And what is important is that the composition of the human milk oligosaccharides in breast milk is individual to each model. It is actually influenced by various factors like the genetic fucosyl transferase status or the lactation state, the health condition of the mother, the ethnicity, parity, geographic location, and so on. HMOs are undigested and as such has no nutritive function, but they have been shown to affect immunity in newborns by different mechanisms. Firstly, they act as prebiotics and promote more specifically bifidobacteria, and that induce actually the production of short-chain fatty acids, which have, among other beneficial effects, have anti-inflammatory properties and have been associated with reduced risk of food allergy or atopic dermatitis. HMO can also inhibit the adhesion of pathogens in the intestinal epithelium and are responsible for strengthening the gut barrier function. Also, we know now that approximately 1% of HMOs can be absorbed into the systemic circulation, leading HMOs to directly interact with immune cells and educate the immune system. So for all these reasons, HMOs have been proposed to influence the development of allergic disease. This hypothesis was supported by observation studies in humans showing that HMO composition could be associated with the development of allergy. And there have been 4 different papers published, 2 in Finland, 1 in Canada, 1 in Australia, and also 1 not still published from Nestlé Research based on a cohort in Germany. So altogether, these papers show that the composition in HMO in breast milk is associated with the development of food sensitization and or the types of food of allergy. that overall profiles rather than individual HMO should be considered when examining the health benefit of HMOs. And of note, no intervention study have been published yet in human, meaning that the causality of this association remains to be determined. And this is where a preclinical study can help by demonstrating that HMO supplementation for allergy prevention or a decrease of symptoms can be feasible. So here, this paper from Castillo-Courtade in 2015 was the first preclinical demonstration that HMOs can be protective in a model of food allergy. In this model, they used ovalbumin as an allergen, and as shown here, in contrast to lactose, which is here, the oral administration of 2-FL or 6-SL could attenuate food allergy symptoms, including diarrhea. This was also associated with a decrease in mouse mast cell protease 1 in serum, so showing less degranulation after oral administration of these two HMOs. This effect was associated with an increase in CD4 plus CD25 plus IL-10 cell populations in Peyer's patches and mesenteric lymph nodes. And also, interestingly, the authors have shown in a passive cutaneous anaphylaxis model that the oral administration of 2-FL and 6-SL here induced the suppression of the antigen-induced mast cell degranulation by CD4 plus CD25 plus isolated from the MLM. So altogether, these data suggest that the 2-FL and 6-SL reduce the symptoms of food allergy through induction of IL-10 regulatory cells and indirect stabilization of mast cells. In a second paper published by Li Dung-Kwang in 2020, they looked at the effect of an oral administration of 3-SL in two different mouse models of atopic dermatitis. And I will show here the result they published using Hauser's mite as an allergen. So here they shown on the left side that oral administration of 3-SL reduced atopic dermatitis-like symptoms, such as here sickness, and they also reduced in a dose-dependent manner the mast cell number in the hair, as well as the IgE production in serum, and also not shown on this slide, they have shown that this oral administration of 3-SL could decrease anti-inflammatory and reduce inflammatory and atopic dermatitis related cytokines. Additionally, in vitro assessment of Treg differentiation revealed that the 3-SL directly induced TGF-beta mediated Treg differentiation, suggested that the 3-SL prevents skin inflammation via regulatory T-cell differentiation. In this paper, they also looked at the effects of the oral administration of 3-FL on the microbiome of the mice. And what they have shown here is, although, and it's what you see here in red, although the bifidobacterium were decreased in house dust mite-induced atopic dermatitis, bifidobacterium, and especially Bifidobacterium bifidum, were gradually increased with 3-SL oral administration, and this in a dose-dependent manner, as you can see here on the green bars. So on the top of it, this increase in bifidobacterium were associated with rescuing atopic dermatitis phenotypes. So collectively, these results indicate that the 3-SL has therapeutic effects against atopic dermatitis by inducing Treg differentiation, downregulated atopic dermatitis-related cytokines, and increasing the bifidobacterium population. Now I will describe you some unpublished results obtained at Nestlé Research. In a first model, we used to sensitize the mice a mix of cholera toxin and ovalbumin, and the nutritional intervention was performed with increasing doses of a mix of two HMOs, namely 2FL and NNNT, in a 2-to-1 ratio. Of note, this higher dose was not meant to be physiologically relevant. It's quite high, but it was used as a proof of concept. So what we could show here is that the oral administration of this blend of 2 HMO could decrease allergic sensitization, as shown here by the dose-dependent decrease in IgG against ovalbumin. And also consistent with other papers, we could show that this oral administration of HMOs could decrease mast cell numbers in the gut, and also MCPT1 in the serum of the mice, showing here again a decrease in degranulation. We also shown, aligned with previous research published on HMOs, that these 2FL and LNNT mix was associated with an increase in Tregs numbers in the mesenteric lymph nodes. In this study, we also looked at the microbiome effect of the 2FL-LNNT mix when given orally to the mice. And what you can see here on the left is that there is modulation of the gut microbiome composition with the increasing doses of the HMOs. There is also a decrease in richness of the microbiota. And if we look at it more specifically, we can see here that there is an increase in Akkermansia, which is known for its role in strengthening the gut barrier by promoting the production of mucus, and an increase in both Bacteroides and Parabacteroides, which are one of the most predominant species in the intestinal tract. In a second model of food allergy, mice were sensitized with Aspergillus fumicatus applied on the skin, so it's what we call the epicutaneous sensitization model. And the nutritional intervention was the same as previously described, with the mix of 2FL and NNNT. We confirmed in this model that the oral administration of the blend of 2 HMO decreased allergic sensitization, as shown here by the decrease in specific IgG1. And among other parameters, we also shown a decrease in Th2-related cytokines, as shown here with IL-4 in the serum. From a microbiome point of view, we observed, similarly to what was observed in the previous model, that the oral administration of the 2FL and LNNT promote the relative abundance of Bacteroides. And we also shown in this model a decrease in Bilophila, which is a potentially deleterious genus linked to various diseases. Finally, we looked at the short-chain fatty acids production, and we saw here that the 2FL LNNT mix induced an increase in propionate production in the cecum, a short-chain fatty acid which has been associated with a decreased risk in allergy in children. So to conclude, just a few key messages here. So human observational studies suggest a role of HMOs in allergy, but while they still need to be confirmed, there is potentially a role of HMO supplementation in allergy management. Preclinical models have shown that supplementation of mice with HMOs have an impact on allergy sensitization and symptoms. And preclinical models also help to decipher the mechanisms of action, which can explain the beneficial role of HMOs in allergy. And data show a modulation of the Th2 immune response via interaction with immune cells such as basophils or dendritic cells. They show the role in reinforcing the gut barrier, and they show the role in modulating the microbiota towards better production or increased production of short-chain fatty acids. And altogether, these mechanisms could additionally or in a synergy way induce these beneficial effects of HMOs. And finally, I just would like to finish my talk by thanking all the people at Nestlé Research who provided this work, and thanking you, of course, for your attention. Thank you.